Hello and welcome to the program. I'm Layo Adegoke. Burundi's constitutional court has upheld the victory of the ruling party candidate in last month's presidential election. The CNDD-FDD candidate, retired General Evariste Ndayishimiye, won with 68% of votes cast, but his main opponent, Agathon Rwasa, challenged the results in court, claiming fraud and irregularities. The country's Council of Catholic Bishops had also raised doubts about the results after its observers witnessed instances of multiple voting, ballots being cast in names of dead people and refugees in other countries, voters being forced to choose certain candidates, and unauthorized people involved in vote counting. However, the court has ruled that the May 20th election was regular and that Mr. Ndayishimiye is president-elect, saying Mr. Rwasa's appeal is unfounded. The president-elect is to be sworn in August and serve a term of 7 years. He replaces Pierre Nkurunziza, who has led the country since 2005. Now, President Salva Kiir of South Sudan is being accused of having little interest in implementing the 2018 peace deal designed to bring an end to 6 years of civil war in the country. Deputy Interior Minister Mabio Garang de Mabio says the security situation in the country is worsening, despite rivals Salva Kiir and former rebel leader Riek Machar forming a transitional government in February. As a result, Mr. Mabio, who is the son of South Sudan's founding leader John Garang, has resigned. Despite the agreement, inter-communal fighting has continued in Bahr el Ghazal, Equatoria, Upper Nile, Abyei, Great Pibor and Reweng, killing hundreds and displacing tens of thousands of people. President Kiir and Machar have also failed to agree on how to govern regional states, further threatening the fragile peace deal. Now, the World Health Organization is giving clarity on the Ebola outbreak in the Democratic Republic of Congo. Director General Tedros Ghebreyesus says this outbreak is in the same area as a previous outbreak in 2018, which was stopped in just 3 months, but it is on the other side of the country to the Ebola outbreak that the WHO and partners have been fighting for almost 2 years in the provinces of North Kivu and Ituri. So far, 8 cases have been detected, 4 of those have died, and the other 4 are receiving care.
WHO is continuing to respond to the new Ebola outbreak in the city of Mbandaka in the Equator province of the Democratic Republic of the Congo. So far, 8 cases have been detected. 4 of those have died, and other 4 are receiving care. To be clear, this outbreak is in the same area as a previous outbreak in 2018, which was stopped in just 3 months. However, it's on the other side of the country to the Ebola outbreak that WHO and partners have been fighting for almost 2 years in the provinces of North Kivu and Ituri in eastern DRC. The latest person confirmed with Ebola attended the burial of one of the first cases, but was detected in the town of Bikoro, 150 kilometers away from Mbandaka. This means that 2 health zones are now affected. Today, almost 50 responders from WHO and partners arrived in Mbandaka, plus 3,600 doses of Ebola vaccine and 2,000 cartridges for lab testing. The government is now sequencing the virus to see whether or not it's related to a previous outbreak.
South Africa's ruling African National Congress, ANC, is flagging off an anti-racism campaign today, not just for the developments in the U.S., but also what's happening within the country. This was announced by the ANC's Deputy Secretary, General Jesse Duarte Duringa, meeting with the party's alliance partners, COSATU, and the South African Communist Party, SACP. Also adding their voice of solidarity is a civil group society, #NotInMyName South Africa, which has staged a protest outside the U.S. Embassy in the country in solidarity with those outraged by the killing of African-American man George Floyd, which has sparked widespread protests.
My stomach hurts. My neck hurts. Everything hurts.
Abraham Lincoln said, all people are born equal.
The crowd gathered outside the United States Embassy in Pretoria, South Africa, was not a large one, but their outrage and messages were as loud as the thousands being seen and heard in the US and other parts of the world today.
If America is killing black people, America is killing me. That young man, George Floyd, when he died, he was calling for his mother. I'm a mother. I've got only one son. If this had been happening to my son, I wouldn't stand by and look. That's why I'm here. I want America to know that I am pained by what is happening in America.
The level of repression that we've seen, especially from the president calling for the military to come out to the streets, for there already to be military police on the streets using force against protesters who in many cases are unarmed and peaceful, is appalling and wrong.
The convener of the protest, #NotInMyName South Africa, has been quite vocal against gender-based violence, among other social ills in South Africa, and they say this protest is also about the brutality and social injustice within.
Today we are here today to demand justice. We want transformation. We want to see change, real change that is sustainable. We've seen the killings of our brothers and sisters during the national lockdown in South Africa, and we are calling for justice for them. Collins Khoza was killed by members of the SANDF. We're saying that his killers must be jailed and imprisoned for life. Secondly, and which is the significance of us coming to the US Embassy, is to say that we are in solidarity with the international outcry and we identify with the Black Lives Matter movement that is in the United States of America.
Added to this and other forms of protests against the killing of George Floyd in the US, South Africa's ruling party, the African National Congress, and its alliance partners have launched an anti-racism campaign.
South Africa is standing to be counted. The USA and its African American community in particular had played a critical role against our own struggle against the institutionalized racism of apartheid. We must, as a nation, add our voice in solidarity to their call that Black Lives Matter.
The official launch involves a ceremony addressed by the President Cyril Ramaphosa on Friday night, which flags off a Black Friday campaign where people will be required to wear black every Friday for the next 3 weeks in solidarity. From Johannesburg, South Africa, Betty Dibia, Channels Television News.
Oh, Betty joins us now for more details on this. Hello, Betty.
Hello, Layo. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. The ANC says this campaign, is in solidarity with the US over the death of George Floyd. What do other citizens think about this, especially wearing of black every Friday for the next 3 weeks?
Well, a lot of the citizens are outraged, just like the ANC. So people have been voicing their concerns about the developments in the US, also relative or similar developments within the country as well. You have records of police brutality, you have records of violence, you have records of racial discrimination and racism almost on a daily basis. So the outrage is, we're looking out and then we're looking inwards as well to what is going on. And that's also part of what the ANC is trying to do, although people have received that with mixed reactions. We expect the official launch to happen this evening because the president has been in Cape Town commissioning a field hospital, because Cape Town is the epicenter of the COVID-19 in the country. So we expect him to do the official launch later today, about 7 p.m. local time. So that's it. The outrage is shared nationwide, not just for the US, but what's going on in the country as well.
Yeah, and in the statements released by the party on Twitter, it says it's also to highlight, that's the campaign, the racism and police brutality in South Africa. Talk to us a bit further on this.
Well, we know the history of South Africa, even recent history, the issue of apartheid and segregation. So it's still, though that is officially gone, it's still a problem or an issue that they're dealing with and working through on a daily basis. You still have division. You still have racism being expressed in different forms. You have a racially exclusive guest house. You know, some people who say, no, we cannot accept black people. We have racial killings or racially motivated killings, not just of farm workers who are black, but also farm owners by black people and racial statements that people are dealing with. Recently, we saw a lady who was sentenced for some statements she made against the police that came to help her out, using a word that is not accepted in the country. So it's a problem. Today, we woke up to a teacher who said, I'm going to do a George Floyd on you pupils if you don't finish your work, where she said, I'm going to sit on your neck and give you a reason to protest. Now, this teacher happens to be white, and I think the pupils are mostly blacks. This is causing a lot of problem. She's apologized, but it's a racially sensitive country, so a lot of things are not accepted here, and they react. Everybody reacts as it happens. Brutality, we've seen Mido Masia, the Mozambican who was handcuffed and dragged by the police. Nigerian-related issues where you have police brutality. So there are problems. Local citizens as well are not left out in the issue of face off with the police here and there. So I guess that's why they're saying, I know some people have said, oh, aren't you being hypocritical? What have you done for the problems within? But they're saying we're including the problems within as well in the campaign. And we've not been silent as well all this while when these things are developing. We voice our concerns as they happen as well.
All right, let's digress a little bit. Earlier this week, a court ruled that the COVID-19 lockdown restrictions issued by the government is unconstitutional. Now, in response, the government says it would appeal. What is the update with that?
Well, that's where we still are. The government held a special cabinet meeting this week. Right after that ruling on Tuesday evening. They held the meeting on Wednesday. So the minister in the presidency, Jackson Tembu, said they had it, all they talked about was that ruling. There were so many things that were not clear. What aspects of the lockdown rules are not constitutional, are not valid? Are you going to throw everything out? But they know they have the law on their side, and they're saying, we're going to appeal. I tried to get specifics from the minister by asking if the application for leave to appeal has already been filed, but he didn't quite answer. All he said is that we have agreed and we're going to appeal, and that they will take it to the Supreme Court of Appeal if need be, but that they know that everything that's being done is in the interest of the people, to keep the people safe and to slow down, if not reduce, the spread of COVID-19 in the country. So where we are now is that they are going to appeal. If the application for leave to appeal hasn't been filed by today, probably by Monday. But that's where we are. The decision by cabinet is we will be appealing against that judgment.
All right, then, our South Africa Bureau Chief, Betty Dibia, thanks for speaking with us.
Thank you very much, Lion. Have a beautiful weekend.
And you too. Well, still to come on the program. Our Africa Tech segment takes a look at a probable mode of transportation post-COVID-19 pandemic. Please stay with us. Thanks for staying with us. We begin our coronavirus coverage with the latest figures from Africa. The continent's COVID-19 cases now stands at 170,765. From that figure, 91,068 are the active confirmed cases. More than 74,000 people have recovered, and the death toll stands at over 4,700. South Africa still has the highest number of cases on the continent, passing the 40,000 mark. It's followed by Egypt, with 29,767 cases, and Nigeria with 11,516 cases. Meanwhile, the countries with the most fatalities are Egypt with 1,126, South Africa 848, and Algeria 681. Health authorities in Ghana say 70 health workers in the central region have tested positive for COVID-19. The country has recorded over 8,000 confirmed cases of the disease, 38 deaths, and more than 3,000 people have recovered. The infected health workers are said to be asymptomatic, which means they have not shown symptoms of the virus. The authorities say some of them did not adhere to safety protocols and got infected from the community. The central region in southern Ghana has recorded over 400 cases of the virus, and 70 of them are health workers. In the southwest of Nigeria, in order to ensure sustainability in waste management and disposal efforts, the Lagos State Waste Management Agency, LOMA, says is rehabilitating 5 legal dump sites for effective service to the people. The acting managing director of LOMA, Mr. Ibrahim Odumboni, who disclosed this during an interactive session with journalists, saying that the move would reshape waste collection and disposal in the state. According to him, the initiative will help increase waste evacuation from 500 trips to 850 to enable it to cope with over 12,000 metric tons of waste generated daily in the state.
World Environment Day, and according to the United Nations, the theme for this year is biodiversity, because the disruption caused by the COVID-19 pandemic is also causing harm to the ecosystem that supports human life. In Lagos, Nigeria's commercial capital and the epicenter of the country's COVID-19 infections, the state's waste management agency hopes to reduce this imbalance through proper disposal of refuse from isolation centers, which is believed will also help to reduce the spread of the disease.
We have dedicated trucks that are servicing our isolation centers and all the hospitals that were supporting during the COVID-19 period. I can assure the residents of Lagos that all the waste that we take from these isolation centers and treatment centers are not commingled with any other waste.
The agency also rolls out its new plans in achieving a cleaner Lagos.
We are rehabilitating our dump site in the state. Over the next 2 to 3 months, we should have a recycling presence in all our 57 LCDA. The government aim is to ensure that at least we have a minimum of 2 recyclers per LCDA, that's 114. So when we do that, we will reduce our landfill impact.
Loma says this can be achieved faster if residents sort out their waste before the refuse collectors arrive.
Welcome to our Africa Tech segment. Several economies are reopening after lockdown, and so also are public transportation systems. The COVID-19 pandemic has not only changed the way we work and relate with each other, it has also affected how we move around on a daily basis. But as we try to adjust to the new normal, electric bikes have been suggested as the best mode of transportation. Tolulokwe Olukokun shows us how to make one with conventional components at home.
As countries around the world emerge from lockdown, public transportation systems are back in operation. But now, not many people want to be in crowded bus stops and risk exposure to the virus. So, electric bicycles seem to be the ideal mode of transportation. They're convenient, fast, consume less energy, and of course, helps with social distancing. This is why Tolulokwe Olukokun is making his own electric bicycle as a sustainable means of transport.
Recently, because of the COVID-19, UK is looking at expanding their bicycle track as a viable means of transportation and as a sustainable means of transportation in order to cope COVID-19. Because people still have to move, and it will make sense if the means of transportation is individualized, that is, having a bicycle will help a lot, and an electric bicycle will make them travel a longer distance.
An electric bicycle is integrated with an electric motor powered by a rechargeable battery, helping you ride faster and further with less effort. Building an electric bike isn't an easy task, especially when using unusual components like DC motor, motor controller, chains, sprockets, and throttle. According to Tolulope, the technology is simple. The pedal assist system helps to automatically power the motor when you pedal without pressing a throttle, while the throttle, when engaged, provides power and propels both the rider and the bike forward.
It has always been a challenge to handle things in this part due to lack of accessibility to different components that we may require for different projects or products. And during this period of COVID-19 pandemic, it has been much more impacted as there is lockdown in different parts of the world we need to source our products from. So we rely mostly on what we can have locally and how cheap we can get them.
E-bikes are not new. They've been around for decades and have now become a way of life for some. But as economies reopen, many people just may turn to cycling as a dependable form of transport to fill the gap.
And that's where we end the program today and the week. Thank you for watching. I'm Layo Adegoke.